Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Nick and welcome to Nick Talks Batman. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the first 5 episodes of Batman the Caped Crusader, and I am going to be reviewing all 5 episodes. So before I start, I just want to let you guys know there is going to be spoilers in here, so you've been warned. Alright guys, let's talk Batman. So let's start with the opening sequence. I really love what they did here. It's all in black and white. It's just a thing of beauty. They just knocked it out of the park on this. And it gives you those 1940s vibes. And you get the feeling that this is going to be one of those old crime, classic 1940s film. So just to be clear, even though Bruce Timm is involved with this project, he is one of the producers. This has nothing to do with Batman the Animated Series from the 90s. And this is just basically a reimagining of Batman and the characters. It does have a bit of a Batman Animated Series vibe, but like I said, it's completely different. So in the first episode, it's titled In Treacherous Waters. And there seems to be a power struggle going on in the criminal underworld. And the power struggle is between the Penguin and Rupert Thorne. The Penguin is the owner and singer of the Iceberg Lounge in Gotham City. So this is not your normal penguin you're used to seeing. This penguin is female and her name is Oswalda Cobblepot. So Oswalda decides to blow up one of Rupert Thorne's warehouses to try and gain control of the city. However, Rupert Thorne gets tipped off and he escapes. After Oswalda becomes suspicious that one of her sons tipped Thorne off to help him escape. Oswalda believes her son Aaron was the one that helped Thorne, so Oswalda decides to kill her son Aaron. However, the Penguin killed the wrong son. Her oldest son Ronald was the one who helped Rupert Thorne. So Ronald is in trouble and he seeks help from Commissioner Gordon and the GCPD. When Oswalda finds out that he is seeking protection from the GCPD, Oswalda decides to blow up the police station. However, they are able to evacuate the police station before anything happens. Batman races to the Iceberg Lounge to capture the Penguin. They duel for a little bit, and surprisingly, Batman beats the Penguin and captures her. So my thoughts on the first episode was, I felt like it was a good start to the series. However, I felt like when Oswalda was on screen, it just fell flat. I love the design of Batman. You can tell they are going for the first appearance, early 1940s vibe with the black and gray suit and the long ears. I really loved how he looked, and I loved the voice actor. Now, Batman is in his early days of crime fighting, and the Gotham City Police Department see him as a villain as well. So there's no partnership with the GCPD, there's no partnership with Gordon or Montoya yet. Barbara Gordon is not Batgirl, she's actually a lawyer that works for the city. She is an honest lawyer, she's an honest lawyer in a city full of bad people. It'll be interesting to see where these characters go as the show moves forward. So moving on to episode 2, we have And Be a Villain. Yvonne Francis is an actor, and all of a sudden she goes missing. Good cop Renee Montoya is tasked with trying to find her. So Renee Montoya gets to work, and the first person she interviews is an actor called Basil Carlo. Basil Carlo used to act alongside Yvonne Francis. When Montoya finds out Carlo's alibi doesn't check out, she goes to question him again, but it's too late. Basil has been murdered. Montoya does some more research on Carlo, and she finds out that he was an undesirable actor that hated his face, and he was always typecast because of his strange-looking face. Carlo numerous times tried to get with Yvonne Francis. He made plenty of advances, however, she always turned him down. Not being able to live with his face, Carlo decides to alter his face with an experimental serum. The experimental serum allows Carlo to alter his face however he pleases. Batman does an investigation on his own and determines that Carlo faked his death. With the help of Batman, Montoya is to finally locate Yvonne Francis, and she finds Carlo with her. And all this time, Yvonne was held captive by Carlo. Batman is able to defeat Carlo, and they rescue the actor Yvonne Francis. So I really enjoyed this episode, and you can tell the producers are trying to make it a bit different from Batman the Animated Series. For those who don't know, Basil Carlo is not a new character. He was actually the original Clayface. They could have just made him Clayface like all the other past ones in Arkham and Batman the Animated Series, but I like how they were able to go back to the original source material and they were able to finally put that on screen, and it just worked. So moving on to episode 3, we have Kiss of the Catwoman. Bruce Wayne shows off his mother's jewels at the exhibit, and of course, Selina Kyle loves the jewels. While Bruce Wayne was there, he gets insulted by one of the reporters, and eventually he gets into a physical altercation with one of them. Because of the physical altercation, Bruce Wayne has to undergo therapy, and his therapist is Harleen Quinzel. Selina Kyle is in major debt and decides to become a jewel thief. So she takes on the persona of Catwoman, and in her first heist, she is caught by Batman. She is captured and she's put on trial. However, District Attorney Harvey Dent lets her go. With her release, Bruce fears that she will try and steal his mother's pearls. The museum closes early, which lures Catwoman in to steal the pearls. However, Batman captures her along with the GCPD. She is taken into custody. Okay, so this was another really great episode. I loved Selina Kyle. I loved Catwoman. I loved the design of Catwoman. And she has really great chemistry with Bruce. And she has really great chemistry with Batman as well. So the scene where Batman is chasing Catwoman on top of the building, it's really such a beautiful scene. Finally introduced to Dr. Harleen Quinzel. And we know she's eventually going to become Harley Quinn. Bruce Wayne comes off as reckless and carefree, and he's your typical playboy that we all learn to know. My thoughts on Harvey Dent: this is a little bit different of a Harvey Dent than what we're used to seeing. Harvey Dent is an honest man, usually in the comics and in the shows and in the other iterations. But in this one, it seems like he cares more about his political career than he does putting criminals behind bars in an honest way. And he'll do anything it takes to make his political career better or make himself look better. So moving on, we have episode 4, Night of the Hunters, and Commissioner Gordon is under pressure to bring Batman to justice. So since he's getting so much pressure from Mayor Jessup, he decides to form a task force to take down the Batman, and Montoya is the one who leads the project. However, things get a little bit difficult. Two detectives, Harvey Bullock and Arnold Flass, they get involved, and they plan to lure Batman, but in a different way. They release insane criminal Firebug onto the streets of Gotham in an attempt to lure Batman in and capture him. So Firebug is on the loose, and he sets fire to a building in Gotham. Batman shows up, and with the help of Gordon and Montoya, they are able to bring the building inhabitants to safety. To cover their tracks, Flask and Bullock, they end up shooting Firebug, and he dies. After it all goes down, Mayor Jessup praises Harvey Bullock and Flask and loves the job that they did, so he makes them in charge of the new task force to take down Batman. So we have another great episode. Obviously, Firebug is a nod to Firefly. And this guy is super dangerous, super insane, and he just has this obsession with fire. You can really see how corrupt the city is. You have criminals on the streets, you have criminals in the police department. Flass and Bullock, they're willing to do whatever it takes to capture these criminals, even if it means breaking the law. Meanwhile, you have Montoya, who is a good cop, and she's trying to do everything she can to help the city, but she wants to do it in the right way. Montoya is a good cop, but she's getting nowhere. We see Batman and Gordon finally working together. Is a partnership starting? The last episode I'm going to review is called The Stress of Her Regard, and this is episode 5. And in this episode, we finally get to see Harley Quinn in action. So in this episode, there's plenty of criminals going missing all of a sudden, and Barbara Gordon suspects that it could be Quinzel's patients. Later on in the episode, we see that Quinzel is actually taking these patients captive and torturing them in her basement. However, there is a twist. Harleen and Montoya have somewhat of a love romance going on. This makes the situation hard for Montoya since she's a cop. Batman and Barbara Gordon, they are able to locate the patients in Harleen's basement, but they get captured. However, the house is rigged to blow up. However, Batman is able to save Barbara Gordon before the house blows up. Batman believes Quinn jumped to her death. However, Montoya receives a message on her phone, and in that message, Quinzel says she is leaving Gotham temporarily. So we finally get to see Harley Quinn in action in this episode. She's not as bubbly and fun as Arlene Sorkin's Harley Quinn, but it works, and she still has that twisted mindset that she's always had in her character. She likes Montoya, however, Montoya is a cop, and Montoya is trying to put criminals away just like Harleen. Meanwhile, Barbara Gordon is friends with both of them, making this a very difficult situation. So overall, I really enjoyed this show so far. Is it as good as Batman the Animated Series? Of course not. Nothing will beat that show. However, you can see that the show was definitely inspired by Batman the Animated Series, and as I said, Bruce Timm is involved, and he's able to sprinkle a little bit of his magic that he used in Batman the Animated Series. The great thing about this show is it didn't have the limitations that Batman the Animated Series had. Now, Batman the Animated Series, it still was a dark show, but remember, it was geared towards kids, so there were certain things they couldn't do. So this is on Amazon, so really the sky is the limit for the creators here. I love the animation and the artwork in this show. I'm glad they didn't take the easy way out and use the highly computerized animation that a lot of the cartoons use today. It definitely reminded me of a classic 90s cartoons, and to me, I feel like the cartoons in the 90s, that's really when they hit their peak. The classic characters are there, but with a different spin to them. And as I've said before, these characters have been around for a long time, so it's nice to see a little bit of a different spin on them than what we're used to seeing. So that is the end of my review for the first 5 episodes of Batman the Caped Crusader. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day. I will see you in the next video.